Good morning, nerds, and welcome back to another episode of Tethered by the Table. My name is Nathan, and yes, I know you have dark vision.
Hi, I'm Megan. We don't have time, but we certainly try to make time. Welcome to the table and joining our stream today.
And if the coffee hasn't hit you yet, or you fall back asleep, or you just can't stand to look at us, don't worry. The recording of this session and audio-only version will be posted on our YouTube channel the following Friday, except for last week when I forgot. But this Friday there will be two sessions, and you can find your channel by searching Tethered by the Table on YouTube or following the link in our bio. If the short form content is more of your style, search Tethered by the Table on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for periodic snippets of our shenanigans. So, where are we, Megan?
Okay, well, last week we almost went a full session without me realizing that you sent me on a little Easter egg hunt.
Oh, so close.
Um, yeah, so close. But yeah, I finally went through the tunnels. I'm on my way to Kyre, and then I stumbled upon well, the first time in my life, I was an answer to somebody's prayers. So that was kind of cool to a group of goblins.
Yeah.
Um, they were trying to. I cannot, for the life of me, remember who they followed, but they followed somebody who was really into dragons, and so I helped them out a little bit. We found some golden eggs that showed a little story or history of the rise of Threshnox that we can assume. Um, and and yeah, basically it looked like he was trying to kill off the blue dragons from a mural, you know.
Mhm.
And we found a little prophecy. We'll see if that leads to anything. Um, but yeah, really went on an Easter egg hunt, battled some rats, and looked at murals. And now I'm on my way to Kyre.
Perfect. Well, that sounds just about right. I'm trying to think of any sort of important details that you missed, but that seems to be all of it. So yeah, in that case, then we can start with this session here. Now, is ultimately last session we ended with you leaving the lecture hall of the. I'm trying to pull up what his name was. um,
Oh, Snick
the
Snack.
Trovalon. Oh yes,
Oh,
you did say you see Snick Snack and Tattywhack along with Kygon. But the lecture hall belongs to Trovalon. And you have left the lecture hall and are now continuing your journey to Kyre that is off in the distance. Is there anything that you're looking to do right now before you start kind of
let's
really
see.
traveling for the day?
How long is a long rest?
8 hours.
I should have ended with. Mm,
Well, I mean, you
Can I
did
take
get
a look?
the lay on hands, but that of course
I
doesn't
did
do
get
your
I
levels to your spell slots.
I did get the lay of hands, but I am completely out of my spell slots and my tentacle.
Well, lucky for you, a long rest does not take 8 hours for us. It will just take 8 hours for your character. If you want a long rest before we start today's session, you are more than welcome to do so.
Okay. I'll just really hope that Layeth
I feel like you like
survives.
walked out of the lecture hall and just like sat next to the door and fell asleep.
Yeah, we could say that. All right. Okay, I took a long rest.
Excellent. Perfect. So now that you are fully long rested up, you now continue your path down to Kyre. And is there anything else that you're looking to do, just kind of within your inventory or within yourself before we get going, I guess?
Within myself. Um, no,
Okay,
no.
perfect. Okay. As you are walking along, ultimately, if we're reviewing the map here, let me see if I can pull up the map real quick. Um, just to Oh, I heard something on my. Sorry, I got distracted by my map, by the monitor I have next to me. I have right here. Okay, I'm going to pan over to the map. I don't know if Megan, you can see the map that I'm looking at, or of course you can review the copy that I've provided you. But if we are taking a look towards the center of the map,
Mhm.
Cyanidel, listed in, what is that, D7? Oh, I don't know why this map screwed me up so much. I don't know why. Okay, in E7. E7 is Cyanidel, where you are leaving. You travel down to, you find yourself now in F7, which is where the
Okay.
lecture hall has opened up. And you're traveling over now into F6 towards Kyre. If you look at kind of the legend here,
Oh,
this is
I
all
see. Okay.
forest area. And so it is not necessarily dense forest like you're seeing in that dark green over there, but there is a decent amount of trees, and you're kind of paving your own trail through this forest. You can find a couple of kind of roads that will lead you um, every now and then kind of through cleared areas, like where wagons have gone through, like have like trying to trading highway between Kyre and Cyanidel. But for the most part, the forest um, is thick but not dense, if that makes sense. And so you're traveling through, and as you are walking and enjoying the sights, the birds that are around, um, you step into. I mean, it just kind of looks like a regular grass, but as you step into it, it kind of just begins to sink a little bit, and your skin begins to kind of perspire a little bit, like you are all of a sudden very wet, and you fall almost through the ground into very familiar. It sounds scary, but it's not scary. Very familiar scenario. I'm trying to think. Scenery. Um, your Trident has called you, and
Oh
you
my
sink
hell.
through the floor as if you are walking onto algae on a lake without knowing it was a lake, and you sink kind of just like that kind of stomach in your stomach in your throat feeling as you just like all of a sudden fall through the floor and you sink deep into the ocean to be confronted by Trident, and ultimately, I mean, I didn't realize the noise was on this. Okay, but you are pulled down into the depths in front and are met with the familiar sight of the stone tomb of Trident, and you hear the kind of Trident's voice kind of echo out from this tube. You can't see Trident, of course, but you hear the voice echo through the water and kind of affect your senses, almost like a whale call. It's kind of ringing all around you, and it goes, "Marlow, where are you in this process? Are you getting close?"
Um, yeah, I'm headed to Kyre. Um, there's some answers there, I think. I just gotta Yeah, I'm on my way, you know, no worries there.
There's a, as in you found an anchor in Kyre, or you're just traveling for your own good.
The person who has the anchor seems to have a lot of power. So I'm headed to Kyre to hopefully get the upper hand on him.
And she kind of and you hear her silence kind of radiate through the water around you. And she kind of just, I feel him probing the anchor with dark magic. At first he drank from the overflowing cup, but now his intention is different. He has infused a part of himself within the anchor. I feel his thoughts, his wrath, his pain. He has forced a connection, and though I fought back, my wounded state provides no suitable adversary to his grip. He's affecting me. I can feel him inside my brain.
Hmm. What's he saying?
Nothing to me, of course, but I see through him, and I can only imagine that he can see through me. Where are you in this process? I mean, are you close to the anchor? This needs to be finished.
Well, if he can see through you, Trident, I don't feel like I can tell you anything. I don't want him knowing what I'm doing.
And you kind of hear like trying to like there is less of a aggressive nature as Trident normally puts on and everything. And normally when you are appearing before Trident, she's very confrontational and aggressive towards you. However, today it seems almost a completely different like mood change between what it normally is. It's now there's a level of desperation, and she guys, I I need to know. But I guess you're right. It's just, I can't stand this feeling like ants crawling all over me. Like there's something inside.
And you finally understand what my father went through and what I go through. And so I'm gonna take out a book, a book that
Oh,
you may well know. Yeah. Or like
okay,
I'm
okay.
gonna recall a passage that I
Yeah.
read. And
Oh, wait, I think I know this book.
and I'm just gonna start reading it to her. And it says, by the decree of the ancients and the might of my lineage, I, Threshnox, Scion of Regibal, wielder of truth, pronounce your fate, trident of the wild cliffs. You will rot in the abyss, shackled where no light will ever touch you. The weight of the sea will press upon you like the burden of your own failures, and the silence of the deep will strip you of all but your regrets. You will beg for death, but even oblivion will not grant you mercy. If the world ever dares to whisper your name, let it not be in reverence, but in mockery. Let them remember only a pathetic worm, barking threats it could never enforce, posturing as a storm when it was nothing but a drizzle. Signed, Threshnox the mighty truth bearer.
Did you write that? That was awesome. I need to send that to me. I need to add that to my my lore. I was racking my brain. I was like, I don't remember writing this. Did I give this to him as a piece of lore? That was awesome. No, that was really cool. Yeah, send that to me. I need to add that to a book. Uh, and
Oh,
um,
I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna be like, you know, my father really never liked the sea. He was actually quite afraid of it. But do you know why he was on that ship in the first place? On that terrible night?
over the table is this rhetorical question. Are you asking for a
I'm
response from
asking.
that? I didn't want. Okay. Uh, and there is a palpable silence of just kind of you almost like don't know if the connection is there anymore just because the silence has dragged on for so long and you almost don't feel the normal presence of Trident before you until just kind of through gritted teeth almost Trident goes, why was he there?
Do you even know his name?
We it never came up in conversation.
23 years he served you, and you couldn't even bother to learn his name? What about me, Trident? Do you know my name?
I I thought the work would be done by now. I thought it wouldn't matter.
You know, Trident, you like to think you're better than Threshnox and Regibal, that you've been wronged. But you're just like them. You crave power, and you don't even care whose lives you ruin to get it. At the end of the day, Trident, I'll free you. But not because I want to help, but because Threshnox will kill you, and I'll be there to watch. And with that, I'm gonna try to sever the connection myself.
You begin to sever the connection, but you feel a pull back to you. I want you to roll uh a what type of check with that? An Arcana check or an Arcana saving throw, just to see if you can sever the connection before. I mean, because ultimately Trident was the one that brought you into here, and so I mean she's very much in her power to be able to pull you
Right.
into a connection. So do a saving throw for Arcana to see if you can sever before she gets too much of a grip.
Okay. What is the saving throw? Is it the same as the skills?
It is, well, actually, no, I guess there wouldn't be an Arcana saving throw. You just do an Arcana roll,
Oh,
just
okay.
in your skills. I'm trying to think of what that would have been.
That's a 7.
7. You
Yeah.
begin to sever the connection, but you feel kind of almost a clawed grip around your body, kind of almost yank you back down to the ocean. I mean, granted, there's nothing around you, but the pressure becomes so immense around you, like you're at the very depths of the ocean, and you kind of just get yanked back as you begin to kind of float towards the surface, and then you're yanked back down to in front of the stone coffin of Trident, and um, you kind of hear Trident's voice. The edge and the aggressiveness is completely back into her voice. The morning is gone, and she kind of says, to make things straight, I'm not looking for power. I'm looking for revenge. And I'm not seeking. I'm not on some crusade to vouch for popularity or um, I just want to get out of here. And you are the person who will make that happen. And so if you believing that I will be slain by any sort of red dragon the moment I come out of this water's uh, fire, then go ahead. But the only desire I wish is to be freed from this prison because I have been drowning for 1,000 years. So sorry if it hurts your name and your favorite hobby before we began this little thing, but might I remind you that this is a contract, and your father signed it, and now you are paying the debt.
Well, Trident, it seems like the only one who wields the power is me. Because as you said, you've been drowning for 1,000 years, and yet here I am, walking among men. So, as I said, I will free you. But just so you're aware, when the moment comes that you are slain, I will be watching. And that's all I have to say.
And uh, with that, you feel the kind of the grip around you fade, and I just realized I just realized I was on the map the entire time. Yeah, but I hope you know that it was very intense the entire time. But you feel the grip release from you, and you begin to kind of surge towards the surface. I dare say with even more speed than usual, almost like you were thrown up to the surface. And all of a sudden, the surroundings of the forest kind of go back into view as you are almost launched from the surface of the water above the ground, and you land back down, kind of not as graceful as usual, and you are kind of flat on your back, soaking wet as per usual, and away from Trident.
Oof. Oh, never easy seeing that dragon. I'm gonna. Are you okay? Are you okay, Toll? Where you at? Are you okay?
And
Okay.
you like kind of grab out like a purse, and when you open it, you have to like dump out the water, and Trident like comes out with it like a little like a goldfish in a fishbowl. And but he seems all right. He seems okay.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right. Well,
And
as long
then
as
of
you're
course he
okay,
starts
I'm
like kind
okay.
of rapidly grabbing like his little ornaments and things that have kind of splashed around him, and he's fine. He is fine.
All
So
right.
you begin to
Okay.
is there anything else before you continue walking? Anything that you want to do?
Nope. Okay, we're good. Okay. All right. Let's finish this so we can get rid of this devilish woman.
Perfect. So you continue walking through the forest, and there seems to you've been kind of keeping your eye on the city wall around the capital of Caire, the capital, comma Caire. But you kind of start to dip into a little bit of a valley from the hill that you're on, and the tree line then kind of in the distance rises above the city wall, and you no longer kind of see Caire as you walk through this sort of valley. And I want you to make a perception check.
Okay. Into this one. 16.
16. As you are walking, you notice something a little bit strange, kind of towards the right. I mean, the forest is a little bit more thick in this area, and you kind of only see it through the break in the trees every now and then, but it catches your eye enough that you begin to look over, and you see a deer, but the deer is suspended in a tree by a large rope, almost kind of like if you think of like a snare trap. This deer has been hanging in a snare trap, a very large snare trap for a while. And it's this kind of catches you off guard, and it's not typical that you'd see a whole deer up in the tree in a snare trap, and that catches and that kind of you note it most
Yeah.
obviously. And as you continue, you see another deer, and you begin to kind of look around, and there are actually a lot of animals that have been caught in these large snare traps around the area, and you realize now that perhaps there's something that is wrong here, or at least that's something that you should be wary of. And with that, I want you to open up the virtual tabletop.
Are these animals like, are these deer, are they dead?
They have
Like the,
been in the snare trap for a very long time, and they
okay.
are no longer moving, per se. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
interesting.
I don't know how long a big animal like that can be in a snare trap without
Oh, okay.
necessarily dying. But we are going to. So I'll
What
explain
the
the
hell
map
is
just a
this?
little bit. So you, of course, are here. Ding. Any creature with the brown outline is currently caught in a snare trap. But these ones, for the sake of this, these ones are look a little more fresh, and they're actually a little more wiggling, and um, ultimately, like this, there's a couple of deer that are suspended. Over here, of course, as you can see, forget how large these things are. There's an elk here, much larger than these deer, and it's hasn't been able to get pulled all the way up into the tree yet. Like its horns are still kind of dragging on the ground a little bit. But all of these animals are captured, but most specifically, you kind of are hearing some grunting and kind of some cursing and talking from a humanoid. And I, I hate how the commoners only have the picture of the old lady because it's not an old lady, but it's a younger man, a human kind of descent. You can kind of see him through the tree, and his horse has been caught in one of these snare traps, kind of by the back legs, and he is caught in that trap as well, almost kind of he's pinned to the saddle in a weird, like it's the whole entire trap has picked up the horse, and he is also caught up in that trap, and it's kind of hanging alongside his horse, who is freaking out because it's upside down and hanging by its back legs. And you kind of can hear him like just like uh, Greeny, that's enough, like we get it, we're both in the same predicament, but I just need you to stay calm just for a moment so I can think just clearly for a second. And he kind of he's wrestling for something on his belt, kind of trying. It looks like he's trying to almost like grab like a knife or something, as he's kind of upside down. And um, what are you looking to do? Or do you want to ask me what this little black box is?
Yeah, I was gonna, what is that little black box right there?
Yes. So as you are traveling along, with your perception score, you were able to start identifying where some of these snare traps are that have not gone off yet. And you're able to kind of dodge them a little bit. But in this little area, the a little bottleneck of trees prevents you from kind of. You are led to believe that there is a higher. And this is the perfect place to place a trap, and so you're led to believe that there is going to be a higher chance um, of running into a snare if you kind of go through this little bottleneck of the woods. So in this black box, you can enter in, uh, and this is how I've gamified mini game this little event here. You can enter into these three squares, and within this, what is it, a 5x5 pattern, there are traps. And this is I'm telling you over the table here.
Mm.
Um, what you what I can tell you here, just what the rules of the game are, within each row and within each column, there are two traps. And
Okay.
what I will let you do is each one like I'm trying to think of how I would explain this. You can take a box, you can move one square at a time, and you can make an investigation check to check if there is a trap in a certain area, or you don't have to take it, or you can choose to make an investigation check, or you can just move.
Okay. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna take Bull out, weigh
Okay.
him down with some of the jewelry, and send him out.
Oh, I see. I see. Here, I'll put total. Just like that. You're probably gonna spoil the entire the entire trap. Um,
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you gonna send him?
Okay, I'm like, hey, buddy, just go wild in there. We need to
Go on.
identify some traps. And
Okay.
he's just gonna
Start
start
running
running.
around. Just start
Yep.
running around. Okay. And so he, not sure why, but he just started kind of running around, and I feel like he kind of would, almost like he has like the zoomies and everything. Like when you'll see like a
Yeah.
dog start running around, he's just like running around. And ultimately, you're gonna love this part. He's not necessarily heavy enough to activate any of the traps, but he does move some leaves that would reveal a few placements of the traps. And so you start to see this one, and this one.
Right. Okay. Thanks, bud. I'm gonna come over here to this elk, and I'm assuming there's like, in my mind, I picture it's like tied to like there's a rope tied to the tree that's like holding the trap. So if I cut it, then he'll be dropped.
Yeah, so you're like thinking like if you
Okay.
cut the rope on the tree side, that it should just
Yes.
like drop the trap. Yeah, I'd say that
Yes.
would accurately describe how the trap works.
Okay, so I'm gonna take out my scimitar and just cut the rope to
Okay.
free this elk.
You start to slice through the rope. The rope is much thicker than a regular kind of like it almost looks like it would be like a rope that I mean you're a sailor, you'd recognize that the ropes are really thick, almost like what would have an anchor attached to it. Like much thicker than
Mm.
what a regular person would be traveling around, or at least a trapper would be carrying on himself. But yeah, I mean the sword still cuts through it. It's still a sword of rope, and the rope ends up snapping, drops the elk just a little bit of distance. I mean, it kind of the elk kind of lands with a crunch, and but like it's okay. He kind of gets up and runs away, and he gets out of there. Shoom. Oh wait, he doesn't take him off the screen. There he is. The elk gets out.
I'm gonna do the same to this deer over here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's just easy enough. Deer gets released out of there. About at this time, you start to feel something walking around. It's you feel it more than you hear it. Kind of the leaves in the tree kind of quiver a little bit with each kind of heavy footfall, and it sounds like there is something moving around. Not necessarily close, but nearby.
Oh man, we're about to see Santa, or the toy maker. All right.
That makes sense to me, but nobody else. Um,
Okay.
so
All right, so
at this
Total's
point,
able to do that.
the person that is being that is hanging over here, kind of sees what you're doing. Oh, hey, do you mind if you help me out just for a second, please?
Yeah, what happened? How did you get trapped here?
And at this point, the trap has rotated where he's now behind the horse, and he's like, wait, one second, and it's like still rotating around, and then he eventually kind of comes on the other side and goes, I was just traveling with my horse here, and I kind of got attracted by some of these like weird deer that are hanging around here. I was trying to check it out, trying to figure out what's going on, and all of a sudden, before I knew it, the horse underneath me just got picked up into the tree, and then it rolls back around. So he's now behind the horse again, and then you gotta wait a couple of seconds before he comes back around. And all of a sudden, I got pinned to the saddle, and I can't get out of here. But my knife is somewhere on me, at least I think. But I can't think for my for 3 seconds because this horse keeps freaking out, and I just need someone to cut us down, like you're doing with that elk over there.
All right. Well, I'm sure I can do it. I just feel like there's traps over here, so give me one moment or we're both gonna be hanging by the trees. Okay. All right.
All right. So
So,
where do you want to step into, or where do you want to investigation check?
um, oh, you said it was bigger. I can wait for that. Okay, so Toll Buddy. All right, so can you re-explain it to me? Because I kind of zoned out because I was like, I'm just gonna have Toll go out there.
And then it didn't work.
And, and
You're like,
then,
forget his rules. I'm just gonna break the
yes.
game. Yes, so you can enter into this box um, through these three squares.
Mhm.
Per turn, let's say, you can either roll an investigation check to see if there is a trap in front of you, or in a box that is adjacent to you, or you can choose to move. And your goal is to get to the other side of the box where the opening is.
Okay.
And you can't cheat and go at the bottom right here. You can't cheat and go at the bottom right here. You have to get out over here. I just realized that there was those two openings that you could just like zip.
And then, so each line has a trap. So
Oh
theoretically,
yeah. Each
over
line,
here.
each column, and each row has two traps in it.
Each column in each row.
So like think of like Sudoku kind of. Like
Yes.
each row and each column has two traps.
Okay. All right. That's too much. Okay. No, I got this. Never mind. I'm casting Gust of Wind.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm Gust of Winding
I
this.
wasn't paying attention to the rules again. I was thinking about how I was gonna burn
Yes.
my game. Uh,
As you were explaining it, I then was like, okay, let me see if I have a spell. Did not listen at
see.
all.
Let's see. Gust of wind. Because I know that this has 10-foot wide blast. So I will let you, because you're trying to get around my freaking mini game, I will let you do. You can send the 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 gust of wind in a 10-foot wide, 10 foot by 60 foot in any direction, and I will reveal the traps in that gust of wind.
All right.
So angle it strategically. And at this
And if
point,
we
that
go
the feeling of these footsteps are getting closer.
All right, 10 foot. It starts 10 feet and then it goes 60 feet.
It goes 60 feet.
So, oh shoot.
Can
I need.
Can you
How
make?
do I make that bigger?
Oh, I don't know if you can. Why can you not make it bigger like that? Sorry, I'm trying.
Oh, I got it. Let's see.
No,
So if I move this, I think. Let's see.
oh, how'd you do it? Oh, is it a line?
I
Nice.
used the line,
Yeah.
but I don't know if
But
I can make
just
it like. Oh shoot.
hey, stop moving my traps.
I moved that one. I'm so sorry. All right, and then I guess I can't make it wide.
But just put
But
it between. Just put it like in the middle of the two squares that you want to be doing.
okay. All right, that's 10 feet.
Okay. So you're kind of using. Okay. All right. So what does it look like when you use gust of wind? Is it just the
Um,
classic? Is that something you want to add flavor to, or you just whoosh?
so right now, given the circumstances, um, usually it's like it's kind of what's the word I'm trying to say? It's like second nature,
Yeah.
and very fluid. Um, you know, power rains through me, my hair goes crazy, my eyes shine bright blue. But this time, after my interaction with Trident, my eyes kind of flicker in and out of a brighter blue. So it's
Interesting.
like, oh, getting like static reception isn't great.
Yeah.
And then like a couple gusts of wind that goes through me a little bit, and then I get dumped with water, and then it grows.
So someone's not happy with giving you power. Interesting.
Yes.
I
Yes.
wonder what could have happened to make that happen. Ultimately, the gust kind of erupts from you and begins to upset the leaves and everything from here. It also hits kind of greeny and gyply just right, or starts spinning them really quickly. but nonetheless, you get this one revealed, this one revealed, and that one's also revealed. Yes, those are the traps that are now revealed to you, with your little trick. And the footsteps now sound so close that you're starting to see birds flocking from the tree, like kind of rushing from the trees, as kind of the tips of some of the trees, a little bit in the distance, begin to sway and kind of move out of the way as something large walks through the forest.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going. Come on, Toll. Dude, I'm going
Okay.
here.
Perfect. There is no
Going.
trap there.
I'm going here.
No trap there.
I'm going here.
No trap there.
I'm going here.
No trap there.
And I'm gonna jump.
Yeah, of course. I'm surprised you didn't just do the jump to begin with, honestly.
Oh my heck, you're so right. I should have just jumped.
I was expecting, I kind of realized that halfway through. I was like, great, she's gonna do the jump. You're making these puzzles actually absolutely impossible. But
And then
yeah, okay, continue.
Toll's just flying through. He's
Of
like,
course, he's just flying.
he's like, "Oh, man, you really should have just flew.
Oh my
All right.
goodness.
Man, I really should have just
Curious,
jumped.
if you're curious, here's the trap. Here they are. You know how long it took me to try to figure out how to make only 2 traps in a freaking row and freaking column? I can't believe that. I told it and clearly the space that you could have jumped it anyways. No, and even like, even on a side note, some of these puzzles that I try to make, I'm like, oh, I could do this and I could do that. Now she's just gonna either use her little tail to like make a little bridge. No, actually, no. There was one puzzle that I wanted to do it would employ the tail mechanic, where you would have to make the tail to make like bridges and everything between certain platforms. But I was like, no, she can jump 60 feet. There's no point in me making a 10-foot little bridge. She's gonna just start hopping from platform to platform. And so I was like, you have too much mobility. That's what it is. You have too much mobility in your character. But nonetheless, you make it across all the traps here, and Ghibli now is kind of sitting there like, oh, perfect. Cut me down. Quick. I think something's coming quick.
Okay, and then I'm like, Toll, go help that other deer. He's gonna go and he's just gonna try to gnaw through
Start
that
gnawing
rope.
on the
Yeah.
rope. The rope that's like thicker than he is long.
Like, are we talking beer can? Like,
I'm thinking, yeah,
no,
like
right?
beer can. Just
And
start
then I'm
gnawing
gonna
on it. He likes it.
I'm gonna try to cut off Ghibli and Greenie while dodging hooves.
Okay, all right. All of a sudden, you're able to cut through it, and both Ghibli and Greenie fall with an absolute thud on the ground, and the horse kind of kicks in and rolls as it gets back onto his feet. Very upset with kind of one being held upside down, 2 being dropped. And Ghibli is able to stand up and kind of start brushing himself off because, oh, I can't believe we actually. I thought I'd be up there forever. I thought whatever was coming here would have definitely gotten us. But I guess we're good now. What do we do now?
Well, I have a little friend trying to help this deer. Give me 1 sec. I come over here and
And Poland working so hard, you just walk up and just slice it with the scimitar.
poor guy. All right,
Poor
the deer's free.
The deer's free,
Well,
and the deer runs off.
I guess introductions are needed. What's your name?
He kind of looks and he kind of gestures to himself. Well, my name is Ghibli, and this here is Greenie. Some of the fastest messengers in Solitaar Faerun. Deliver mail to and from cities. I'll just make my way to Caire.
I'm headed to Caire. And it seems like I don't want to be here whenever that huge thing is coming. So what do you say we just start leaving?
Yeah,
Head
kinda
out.
yeah, he kind of goes, I mean, I don't see why not. Hop on, I guess. And he kind of, you see him kind of jump up on the saddle, and Greenie's not necessarily happy with the amount of time that he was given to recuperate after all the blood had gone to his head. But he nonetheless is a proud stallion, and Ghibli kind of motions for you to hop on the back.
I'm going. Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can pick up some of this rope and put it in my
Some of the rope?
backpack.
I mean, you do have a bag of holding.
I do have a bag of holding. Yeah, I'm taking that.
I feel like I don't know. I always imagine there is a. I need to be worried. I need to be careful about how I say this, but there would be a. You know, I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna say you put the rope in there. You put the rope in there. Yeah, no problem, no problem. You're able to hop onto the back of Greenie, and Ghibli kind of sits there, riding himself, making sure that everything is kind of buckled and strapped right. The thumping of these loud footsteps are ever so close, pretty much preparing to break from the tree line at any moment now. And Ghibli kind of turns to you and go like, you ready?
Yeah, I would say let's go. Yeah,
And
before.
he kicks his heels and Greeny takes off and you ride straight through the forest. He's able to you can kind of tell that he knows this forest a little better than you would have at least, and is able to navigate to a nearby road that seems to lead just straight to the um, straight, being very loose here, but a road that leads towards Kyre. Rocky as it is, he's able to navigate it, and at breakneck speed, you fly down the road towards Kyre. So you are now on the back of Green. Oh, I just realized that this deer didn't actually go away. Bing. Okay. But I mean, other than that, I don't think that we need this VTT anymore. I'm gonna hop over to the Discord call, and so you are now on the back of Greeny here, heading straight towards Kyre. And then, forgive me if I ask too much, but is there anything that you're looking to do right now on the back of a horse as you're heading towards Kyre? Any sort of last preparations before you head in?
Mm, So, what leads you to Kyre, Ghibli?
And he kind of says, he pats a saddlebag on the horse. He goes, "It's a couple of letters. Gotta move things out. I my trip started at Nalo, headed towards Cyanidel. Picked up a couple more letters there. Now I just gotta deliver some things straight to the capital.
You went to Cyanidel?
Very briefly. It's I try to keep my time in there very short. Seems like you guys got something going on there.
That's an understatement for sure. But I'm surprised people are headed that way, let alone, a postman.
And
Who,
you see him kind of puff his chest up. He goes, "Not many postmen are heading to Cyanidel, but there's still a few brave souls that believe that the mail is a very important aspect of our society and should never be squandered." And at this point,
that's
he's looked away from the
very
road for a
valid.
very long time. He hasn't been looking straight ahead.
Okay.
And he seems to have
Um,
almost full trust in Greeny, the horse underneath you guys.
um, if I may ask, because I'm on a mission from Cyanidel. Who were the letters from? Was it from oh, what's his bucket? Emerald Radikai? Or who? What letters do you have?
And he holds his hand kind of almost like the clutch of his pearls. And he's like, "You would dare breach the privacy of these letters? I mean, as a postman, I cannot in good faith tell you who these letters are from. I mean, that's something." But yeah, there's a couple from Emerald, some from Tannigfeld as well. It seems just kind of a lot of official things. I guess a lot of people aren't necessarily writing their love letters these days, but you sometimes it's business, sometimes it's pleasure.
Yeah, I would assume it's all business right now. Um, well, thank you so much for letting me ride with you. I really appreciate it.
And he kind of he nods. He goes, "No problem. We'll be there in just a little bit. Should be longer than an afternoon. We're pretty close to Car at this point." And you guys continue to ride on, straight to the
Oh,
gates.
while I'm riding, I'm going to cast Magical Cunning, to regain a spell slot.
Excellent. All right, got it. Okay. And you eventually the Kyre gates grant well at this point very soon after the conversation is lulled into just you guys riding along, you break into the outskirt villages of Kyre here. There's no walls surrounding these houses out here, and the cities are relatively kind of few and sparse between. There's a lot of farmers out here. As you get closer to the gate, then it becomes a little more dense with actual kind of shops and merchants on the outside, until eventually you hit the very grand, very large. You remember Cyanodel's gates and Cyanodel's walls. While they were big, they are nothing compared to just the absolute behemoth walls of Kyre, that are outlined in gold detail. This is a symbol, less of a symbol of protection, more of a symbol of wealth and grandeur. This is Kyre, the capital of Cyanidel, where all of the wealth pools together to kind of create a very large and just grand spectacle of the capital. There's hardly any guards here, as Greeny and Ghibli kind of stop briefly, just for pretty much pretty much Ghibli just like flash a badge. That's as long as it takes before the horse and him kind of go inside. And after only a couple of streets going into the city, he kind of like slows the horse and goes, "Well, I'm off to my patrol. I figured I'd just kind of leave you here. Is there kind of do you want to be just dropped off here, or is there someone else you're looking for?"
Yeah, I'm looking for a school.
And you don't remember that
But
school's name, don't you?
can I recall that information?
Yeah, we'll make you roll for it. The School of Selutaar. I kind of well, actually, before you kind of finish, he goes, "Oh, the School of Selutaar. I got some letters that I can go there too. I'll start there on my patrol, on my route, and then we'll dismiss there."
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
He
I
weaves
really
in and out
appreciate.
of the city and everything. Takes you straight to the School of Selutaar, and there. I mean, it is a grand city that you've been to before. Not a grand city, a grand school that you've been to before, and it looks almost odd seeing such a familiar piece in an unfamiliar surrounding because, of course, the school has been moved here. It used to be in Cyanidel, and so he parks his horse out of, for lack of a better word, and allows you to hop off and kind of hops off as well, grabs his little saddlebag, and turns out it's like a little like messenger bag he can put onto his body. And goes, "Well, I'm gonna drop off some letters, but I think this is where we part."
Yeah, thank you so much again for allowing me to travel with you. And
And
try
he
not to
he
get
nods and he starts to walk away.
when you said moved, how they literally moved the building
Oh
or
yeah,
like
yeah. If at this point maybe I could specify some things. So yes, the building has been moved. The entire school, the campus, the buildings has left Cyanidel and is now resting in Kyre.
interesting. I'm assuming by magic. Maybe they put the whole thing in a bag of holding.
One large one that's
Just one large.
drop it in.
Interesting. Well, I guess Emerald wouldn't have noticed, because he has other things on his plate. But when you said I would recognize it, I would be like, oh, it's literally the same building. Okay. All right,
No,
just
I guess
wanted to
that
be
that
clear.
that scene that tracks with how Marlow would see the situation, where all of a sudden you just kind of turn around the corner and it is the same building, the same library, same courtyard that you visited in Cyanidel, but it just now is in Kyre.
Weird. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna head in.
Perfect.
Um, yeah.
As you are walking to, trying to find where I put my notes here. One second. One second. I thought I had all my stuff here, but now I can't find it. Okay. So as you are walking to you're walking into the kind of the courtyard first. You hear a familiar voice, kind of call out, "Oh, Marlow, Marlow!" And you turn
Mm.
around, and Didalark Bira is sitting in the courtyard, with, of course, surrounded by books, like you've seen her before. And she kind of is waving at you and calling you over, to sit next to her.
Oh, hey, Dita. I'm gonna head over. Mm, so-
And she looks and she kind of as you approach, she goes, "Oh my God, hello again! I can't stop thinking about your little cutie, and I was hoping I could get another peek."
Oh, if he wants to come out, I'm not sure. We kind of had a long journey. So,
And so I mean, how do you present Cole to Dita?
let's see. I'm gonna open my bag. I'm like, hey, bud, do you wanna come out?
Cole powers into the bag a little further and kind of almost like puffs its like back up like a hissing cat would, and begins to kind of like spit a little bit inside the bag. And she kind of like pulls her hand back. She goes, "Oh, that's okay. I mean, we perhaps we're not as good of friends as I think we are, but oh my goodness, how are you doing? You look good, even though you said you've been on long travels."
Yeah. I'm just on. The old bookkeeper or the librarian Laeth. He just sent me on a little errand. Here to Kyre. Found out that the school was literally moved. How are you? How are you taking that? How are you liking Kyre instead of Cyanidel?
She kind of and she And she's just so ecstatic and so excited to see you there. She goes, "Oh, did you miss the event? You didn't see the headmaster in the courtyard? It was quite the spectacle. The headmaster came out and in all of his glory. You forget how big they are, really. But I mean, yeah, school was moved. Almost, I didn't even feel a thing. It was absolutely wild."
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be very crazy. How are your studying, or how are your studies going?
And she kind of goes, "Well, it makes sense now that Laeth isn't actually is still in Cyanidel, you say, because I've been in the library a couple of times and he hasn't been in his office. But I mean, it's things are nice. Things are good. Still cracking down any piece of dragon lore that I can. I'm trying to just check out every single book that includes dragons in the library, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I'm sure. Um, anything new that you've come across?
No, same old, all the same information. But how was your book? Did you learn a lot about the history of the dragons? The story of the
Yeah,
Crimson King's claim to power?
yeah, it was an interesting read. There was one passage I really enjoyed. But yeah, it was very interesting. I appreciate you lending it to me. If you want it back, you sure certainly can have it.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, he's probably my favorite, but I've read that book tens and tens of thousands of times.
And you said he's your favorite. Is it the author or the
No, the dragon.
dragon?
The dragon.
Oh, the
It's
dragon.
nice to see just kind of just a culture and a society that's different than ours, something that's more archaic, something draconic. It's we've built all these societies are built off of the backs of kind of the dragons or anything. I mean, common ancestor this, common ancestor that, but the dragons, I'm sure, predated anything that we saw on this archipelago, and it's just so interesting to see kind of, well, the wild cliffs just always capture my attention.
Over the table. Dee Dee is human.
Dita is human, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Or
here I
human
have a picture of Dita.
presenting.
I can put a human. I
No,
like it.
I'm kidding.
Here, we can go boom. I can go Dita. Here, zing. Okay, that is Dita Lark Bira. She is human presenting. Yes.
Okay. I had a completely different image of her in my head.
Oh shoot.
That
I
was
Dita. I have all of these character profiles here, and I forget to use them, almost every single time. So I need to use them more, so you can at least understand what I'm seeing in my brain,
no worries. All right.
or I just need to describe them better
Oh.
because I'm sure that's how D&D works. But continue.
um. Oh, where was? Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's certainly any different thing can certainly be interesting. But I'm glad to see you're doing well. I'm gonna grab go complete the errand I was sent on, but you continue your studies.
Perfect. And she kind of begins to, she goes, "Oh, before you leave," and she kind of digs in her pockets and she pulls out a little golden marble. She goes, "Maybe a little passing gift for your little toll buddy that I could maybe start breaking the ice with."
Oh, cute. Yeah, maybe. That's very sweet. I'll see if he enjoys it. I'm sure he will.
Okay,
And I'll leave.
and you head off. All right. Now that you are in the School of Selutaar, um, I mean, what's on your checklist? What are you looking to do here?
What does this marble look like?
Do an investigation check.
I just wanted you to know that when I'm sitting here
Yep.
and I put all my d20s on the 20 in good faith that they'll do
I
something
think you're
good.
I think you're more of a dice goblin than you lead off. I think when it comes to like ritualistic players, I think that secretly over there you have a couple of good luck charms or good luck rituals that you do over there.
Okay, it was investigation.
Yes.
It's a 19.
And 19. So as you walk away, you kind of pull out the golden marble. It's about the size of a giant pearl, and it kind of has that iridescent look, but it's completely made out of gold. Um, and you're
Mm.
able to, and it just really is very smooth to the touch. Um, Hardly any kind of imperfections within the gold there, and it just is a shiny kind of um, metallic, golden ball thing. Yeah,
Can I sense any magic from it?
do an Arcana check.
All right, let's see. Let me hit this one. That is a 21.
21. How do you choose to kind of sense this? Like, what does it look like when you're sensing the magic around it?
Um, I feel like I inspect it first, and then I'm like passing it between my hands, squeezing it. Just like literally sense any.
Okay. As you kind of pass it between your hands and you kind of put it in your palm and squeeze it, you feel kind of almost like a jolt of like kind of like a small pulse of electricity. Kind of, I'm trying to think of like you know when you know those like sticks of gum, like those like crank sticks of gum that when you pull it, it like
Yeah.
zaps your finger and everything. It's that feeling across your whole entire kind of arm up to your elbow, and it kind of is like this weird pulse of electricity, and there is magic on the marble.
Can I identify the magic? Or like,
If
I
you
just
want
know
to.
it's magical. Yeah. I'm
Um,
intrigued now.
you as it kind of happens you close your eyes and you begin to kind of see almost like your consciousness for a second is ripped away from your body and you travel across water and all of a sudden you see an island covered in these large orange jagged rocks and it kind of you're almost like zooming through all of these different crevices and archways and natural rock formations of this kind of this craggly island until you are almost kind of thrown in front of a large dragon eye, and then kind of you snap out of it, and you're still there.
Ooh. Um, I'm gonna put it in my other pocket that Toll's not in.
The toll's not in. Okay.
Yeah.
Does Toll know that you have this golden marble? Does he know
I-
you're holding out?
um, I guess the question is, can he sense magical items?
Oh, I, I mean, I like to think yes. I'm trying to think if I saw anything about like the giant familiar. I said anything? Because I mean, is he a telepathic connection? Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'd say yeah. And if anything, he continues to react negatively towards the marble.
Okay. I was like, yeah, this is from Dee Dee. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright,
you wouldn't like it anyways.
I'm gonna give it this. It's spicy. It's spicy. Um, oh,
Howies.
ah,
Okay, continue.
okay. I'm gonna put that in my pocket for now. And head in. I was okay. I won't do that. Could you imagine like I bring it down to Triton? I'm like,
You're like, what's this?
look, yeah.
I mean, you could try. I mean, you're more than welcome to try.
And then we have a scrying eye on her. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to just head into this library.
Perfect. So you're heading to the library. Of course the desk that like normally when you found Layeth, yeah, Layeth. I started thinking Lae'zel, and I was like, did I really name a character? And for a second, I had like a scary thought that I had named a character after someone from Baldur's Gate, but no,
Oh, that's
it
funny.
is it's Layeth. Um, where Layeth normally is, he is not there. Instead, a smaller, kind of younger, kind of half elf is sitting behind the desk, kind of just like stamping books and kind of rearranging things on the desk. And he sees you approach. He's like, "Oh, hello. How are you doing today?"
Well, thank you. I'm on an errand from Laeth. Um, he sent me to acquire some of his personal items. So I was just hoping you can send me that way.
Certainly, yeah. If you go up the stair and he kind of begins to explain kind of how to get to the office of Layeth, ultimately it's kind of winding here, winding there, up a staircase, and then it kind of tells you where the office is, and you're more than welcome to. He kind of trusts that you know what you're doing around the area, and allows you to just go to the office by yourself.
right. Do-do-do, do-do-do. And I'm gonna head up.
Perfect. So as you enter into the office, um, the door is unlocked, and you kind of walk in, and the room is dark, with trying to think if there's any sort of like light sources around. There's a couple candles here and there that you could choose to light if you wanted to. But ultimately, the office is still and relatively cluttered.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna look for this whispering stone
Okay.
that he sent me to look for.
Do an investigation check.
These metal ones don't roll as well.
You gotta like learn how to like throw it onto the 20.
That was a 6.
6. It is rather dark within the room, and you're unable to necessarily see what's going on. There's a lot of papers have been kind of thrown and tossed almost. Like whoever was in the office last was in a hurry, which means that everything around you is not necessarily in its right place, and it's hard to kind of see what's going on.
All right, I'm going to the desk. I'm ripping open the drawers.
Okay.
Looking.
And you're just looking through things, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second, I'm doing something over here. Bing. I'm consulting my notes, I mean. You are able to start looking into the desk drawers of kind of this large dark wood desk in front of you. And as you are kind of looking through the desk, you're able to find a couple of like kind of magical knickknacks, things of almost kind of like a lost and found nature, where it's like it's almost like in a box that says like confiscated goods and like from students and everything. But you're unable to find necessarily anything that is specifically a whispering stone, at least how Leia described the stone to you. But as you are kind of looking around, a knock at the door kind of sounds, and someone is outside the office waiting for you.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna put the drawers back. Wipe down.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a peephole? Like,
No peephole, but the door is kind of cracked where you can hear someone kind of outside and goes, Marlow? And it's a voice you don't recognize.
but they know my name. I'm gonna open the door. Like, yes?
On the other side of the door is an elf who's kind of who stands very kind of astute and proud, and he's wearing these very elegant, kind of official-looking robes. And he goes, "I am a professor here. Ultimately, Marlow, the headmaster is looking for you. I've been told that the headmaster knows that you're here and would like to see you."
Who, as in headmaster? As in who's the headmaster?
The headmaster of Selutaar. The Selutaar.
Oh, okay. All right. Well. Oh wow. Okay, lead me to him.
Perfect. And seeing how like kind of unsure you were, he goes, "You were sent by Leith, correct?"
Oh yes, yes. For some odd reason, I figured he'd keep it in his office, but
Perfect.
I.
Well,
I
ultimately, that means that the headmaster is looking for you, and he begins to walk, kind of without necessarily checking to see if you're following. He begins to walk away and head down kind of the reverse order of the operations that you took to get to the office there, and you leave the library, begin to walk kind of deeper into the school in places that you haven't necessarily gone before, and so you kind of keep close to him to make sure that you're not getting lost. And the conversation, you travel for the most part in silence.
Okay. Well,
Any
the
questions you
weather
like to
seems
ask her?
the
Oh, sorry.
weather seems a lot better here than in Cyanidel.
He kind of chuckles and goes, Very much so, and it's been it's been a blessing that the headmaster was able to move the school away from such a catastrophe of events, if we will."
You know if they're planning on helping in any way? Like, there's just a lot
Here,
of people,
here
like
at the
there's
school,
civilians.
the headmaster's top priority is protecting the intellectual knowledge and academic research that is facilitated here. While we'd love to assist in the earthly matters of a city here, our purpose our purpose I'm trying to think of a transpire. There's some sort of word. Our purpose is higher than menial economic and civilian needs. We are a institute of academics knowledge. The information we have within our walls is indelible and should not be um, put at risk, if anything. And our headmaster knows that and has acted accordingly.
Is that the script they tell you to say when anyone
And he kind of
confronts you?
he kind of looks over his shoulder and kind of with a mellow shoulder goes, "No, it is something that we all believe very very dearly."
Hmm, interesting. Well, I guess that's all to be said then.
And there's at one point where, kind of after you've passed like a mess hall and more classrooms, there's lots of kind of you're able to kind of peek into some of the open doors that are around in these buildings, and there's spells going on. There's instructors kind of going over complicated equations that are taking over three different chalkboards. There's a room where kind of a large owl bear sits and is kind of polymorphed into a smaller creature, and then sits it kind of gets back into an owl bear, and it's just there's lots of commotion, lots of magic, and the feeling is very kind of like thick in the air of just like there's lots of just magic in the air here. But you turn eventually to a very large set of double doors that extend kind of far up into the ceiling, maybe 10 or 15 feet large doors. Sorry, 15 to 20 feet large doors. Um, where he kind of puts his hand kind of lightly on the kind of like presses his hand lightly against the door. And the door's open, revealing a staircase that goes down into the depths of kind of this dark area. And as one travels down into the dark area, uh, he kind of walks halfway down the stairs. He goes, the headmaster will see you now, and kind of gestures for you to continue.
Should I be prepared for anything? Why is he hiding in a dark dungeon?
This space suits him better.
Okay. All right, well, if I'm not back, I guess Leith will die, and I'm just gonna head down.
And the professor kind of nods and turns around and kind of walks up, and the doors close behind the professor. And as you travel down to the base of the stairs, you actually realize now that when you look up, well, you go into a very large open cavern with pillars that kind of decorate the walls. It's a very huge and empty space. Not necessarily cold, however. It does kind of have like a warmth to it. But as you look above, at the very like at the ceilings of like so this like 40 foot tall cavern, the ceilings are transparent, and above you is the library that you were just at, and you see people walking almost as if they're walking on air, and these desks and everything are above you, suspended almost as if like there's no break between this cavern and the library above. And it's strange seeing the library from a much lower perspective as everything as just business as usual is up above, but you see large eyes towards the back of the cavern, kind of reflect some of the light, kind of the same way a house cat would. Um, and you kind of hear large dragging noises. A large dragging noise kind of start kind of sombering over to you. And I'm going to go over to this character display here. Out from the darkness steps the headmaster, a large Sphinx of Wonder. I'm pretty sure it's a Sphinx of Wonder. 1 second. No, Sphinx of Secrets. Um, Dressed kind of course, like that photo shows, this is straight from the monster manual, with golden adornments, with kind of these. The mane is kind of pulled into the dreadlocks that have these kind of enchanted and golden, silver, copper. Kind of ornaments all throughout the hair. Bracelets kind of jangle on his wrists and his legs as these kind of giant wings are kind of are dragging next to him. And he walks in and goes, "Marlow, is that your name?"
Yeah. Hi.
And you see him kind of like looking us unsure.
I've just never met a sphinx before. I I've only ever heard you guys in like stories or myths, and I figured there's no way you guys existed. So I apologize, but I'm just a little taken aback from what I thought was a story.
And he's now walked close enough where his whole body is kind of in the light. His technicolor pattern is kind of is dimly seen throughout his whole entire body. He kind of sits on his hind haunches, and the wings kind of fold up against his back a little bit more. And he kind of, as much as the Sphinx could smile, kind of nods and goes, "Oh, well, I'd be a liar if I said that reaction wasn't usual. But from what I understand, Laeth has sent you."
Yes, we're in dire need of help. He's using all of his power to try to keep up this wall, he was saying, around Cyanidel. I'm sure you know, because you literally moved the school. Um, but we're being overrun by zombies and this necromancer. And he sent me on this errand to retrieve a whispering stone in hopes that he can get a little break, a little reprieve, in order to hold back the hordes.
And then he kind of nods
But
and goes, "Oh, sorry, continue." Yeah.
no, go on.
And he kind of nods and goes, "I am aware of the dire need of Cyanidel, and you are aware that I've moved the school. I deemed it necessary to protect our academic library. But I appreciate you traveling here, and I understand that Laeth is a very powerful mage, one of our strongest archmages here, and I know that Cyanidel can trust his ability."
And I'm sure. And this whispering stone will do wonders. I again, I'm sure. Because Laeth, he wouldn't lie. Um, I was just wondering, is there any other? y- I assume, and maybe I shouldn't. I assume you've been along for a really long time, and I would think that you have experience with the necromancers and maybe zombie hordes. I was wondering if maybe there was any any like advice or any other item that we might be able to use that could potentially send the tide over, like a whole, what's the word? I guess just to help, just to give us a little more leverage. These people are dying, and I, yeah, I feel like in this situation, I just there's I'm afraid we're all gonna die. All these people are just gonna die, and life isn't gonna be enough.
And he nods kind of and goes, "I trust Laeth. Laeth is very strong, and I understand. And with his lineage of helping at the college, I am more than happy to assist with his needs. Whispering, I had someone swipe the whispering stones the moment we changed the the location of the school in preparation for your arrival. I knew he'd send somebody, and so these whispering stones are definitely something that I can provide you. When it comes to the city of Cyanidel, I'm afraid that I cannot affect, though I choose not to get involved in the situation. This is something that I believe the rulers and the members of the parliament, the government of Cyanidel can handle on their own. But I will help Laeth because he is a dear friend of mine, a very close friend. So I will provide you with these sending stones. But there, you are in a dire situation. I am in a dire situation, and I was hoping to speak to you directly about a certain task that I would need fulfilled in order for me to feel in good faith in providing you with these sending stones.
What kind of help could a human give a sphinx?
The only help a Sphinx ever looks for, knowledge.
Mm, all right, and I mean, what kind of knowledge are you looking for?
You see, and he smiles and goes, "It's silly in nature, but serious when it comes down to it. I have surrounded myself with troves of knowledge and books, and I've devoted my life to this layer to learn everything that I can of how the world operates. I have employed archmages and mages and professors alike, all who specialize in magic and all sorts of aspects of the academic world. But I lack certain skills that, frankly, some of these bookworms fail to pick up along their way. I'm looking for more knowledge of the sea, and I heard that you were a sailor.
Um, my father was a sailor, and I merely helped. Um, but yes, I guess you can say I spent a little of my upbringing on the sea.
And he kind of tilts his head a little bit, and he, would you know how to sail?
Yeah, I can work my way around a ship.
And he now is satisfied. He was a little worried that he lost you for a second, but is now satisfied with your answer. He goes, I need you to teach some of my professors how to sail. I need you to a quick errand from Tyre, just a location that I need checked out. I'm hoping that could provide a few gaps in the academic trove that I have here. And if by a chance you can seem to teach some of my professors or someone within my organization of just the whereabouts, just the happenings of a boat, I would find that knowledge invaluable.
You guys got someplace to be that you need the knowledge of using a ship?
Frankly, it's just it's not a lot of information in the school about the open waters. A few books here and there, but um, frankly, most adventurers that have gone out into sea have passed away, and the knowledge about the distance between our islands is limited.
All right. Well, okay. I mean, if that's what it takes to get the Whispering Stones and to help Leith, I can do that. No problem. Just give me a ship and your people, and we could get on with it.
Perfect. Well, in that case, then, I see no reason not to trust you. If you are a close friend of Leith's, then you are a close friend of mine. And he kind of, you see kind of some of the patterns on his body begin to kind of glow a little bit as one of his piles of kind of books and trinkets and everything kind of shift a little bit, and stones are kind of pulled from the pile, and they kind of drift over to where you're at. He goes, here are a couple of a couple of whispering stones. Um, Reserved for Leith and his um, continuation of the spell that he's casting currently. In that pile, as well as a sending stone as well, that I might be able to contact you. I understand that you are on on a limited time frame, but I hope that you can deliver these stones back to Leith, and then report back and go on a little spree for me. I'm willing to provide my end of the bargain first before you deliver on yours.
Okay. Well, that's very kind of you. Um, and yes, we'll certainly bring these to good use. Before I head out, and you are in no circumstance needing to tell me, you're already providing so much. Um, you said you have unlimited knowledge. How?
And he goes, correction, not unlimited knowledge, but a vast knowledge of the books that I have here. And the
Right,
knowledge is
right.
vast.
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, because you guys don't know how to sail. Um, have you ever have you ever heard of Trident or like Breshnox and Retrobol?
And he nods and he goes, oh, another seeker of knowledge of dragons, I see. It seems to attract a couple of you to this school. Trident Hinavaquas. I'm familiar with the stories.
Yeah, you may say that I'm well, how would one go about, what would happen per se if someone were to unbind Trident from her prison?
And he kind of his gaze kind of heightens now, and he kind of is now curious. And he goes, "Well, what you're asking for is hypotheticals, and frankly, I don't specialize in hypotheticals. Um, I only really specialize in things that are written or things that can be learned. But if I were to make a guess, um, Trident is Trident was imprisoned to prevent her further goals of destroying the Crimson Empire. I would imagine that the Crimson King and his lackeys would hunt Trident down as soon as possible.
Who do you think is in the wrong? If you feel, do you feel like Thresh and should be ruling? Or in your opinion, like, should I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, do you care about good and evil, and do you see that in any of these dragons?
I care about good and evil, but frankly, I'm not able to act as often as I should. When it comes to Threshnox and the Crimson King and the Crimson Empire, it was an empire forged with blood. It was not a friendly coming to power. There was many that opposed the rise of Threshnox, and many folks on the wild cliffs um, were met tragic endings. Now, to say whether or not one is in the right or one is in the wrong, the Crimson King provides protection to his empire, but a very sharp sword to those who dare stand against him. However, Trident didn't seem to act against the Empire, but more against the Crimson King himself. I'm curious to know what her motives were, and I wish that I've been scouring, if you will, my library to to figure out more history about the dragons. For a little bit, I was curious, and frankly, the only person that's been able to rival me with the books available has been this woman Dita Vera, who seems to check out the books quicker than I can. But I'm looking for information on what might have driven Trident to create such an attempt, and I'm unsure.
Hmm. Well, maybe I can give you a little knowledge. Um, on my way here, I came across this temple. I'm sure you're familiar with. And there were some followers within this temple. And we were able to find this portrait. Okay, over the table. What was this? What was the temple called?
The temple that you found was it was a lecture hall of Provolon.
Provolone.
If that's what you're looking
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I came across this temple of Trovolant, and we found this mural that was hiding behind this case, and it was of this red dragon that we can assume was Threshnox, and he was destroying this blue egg. And I can only assume he was kind of going on a little massacre of the blue dragons. But with it, there was another mural that had a prophecy. Oh, which I'm trying to find. We have so many tabs. Okay. And that one you could be familiar with. That one was in the open, but it said, "Dragons of all colors will rise up and steal the throne of dragons from the mortal plane. Every seat will crumble and every tower will reduce to rubble." Does that sound familiar at all to you,
And
or do you have any inkling?
he nods. He goes, "Well, there is no greater source, greater true source than Trovolon himself. Quite the mighty brass dragon he was. But ultimately, I have heard of that prophecy before, and it does concern me, just with the lack of clear details. Now, this mural you speak of is not one that I'm familiar with. Perhaps it hasn't been written, or it sounds as though you've gone through some trouble in order to find this mural, and so uh, I
It
definitely
was
would. Mhm.
it was strangely easy to find. We just found, I mean, it was hidden. It obviously the the person, whoever, I don't want to put name like speculate, but it just seemed like it was a part of history that someone didn't want to be found because maybe it would make them look bad. Um, but I got some help from some goblins, and we were able to find some eggs, and it was a whole thing. But essentially, it was hidden. It's currently at the temple, and it just seemed to put um, a bad taste to the Threshnok's name, essentially.
Nod because I should send some. I'll send a professor that way, so he can record this and add it to our knowledge here. That is interesting, and I worry what that means if somebody was trying to keep this hidden per se. But this information does strike me as odd, and I hope that we can ultimately find a solution. But it sounds like you're interested in freeing this blue dragon.
I wouldn't say I'm interested in anything regarding her. More so, I'm bound to her, and to be unbound, I need to free her.
I see. Interesting. And he kind of sits back a little bit, and Trident has definitely endured more than most dragons. And frankly, with her bloodline being ended, then there's really, I guess, freeing her in hopes for a quick end at the hands of another dragon might be the best option for her. But sad to speculate such as that. But I'll continue to do some research, and perhaps, like I said, I'll send a professor over to this lecture hall of Trovalones, and we'll get more information, and we'll see what this we can cross reference this with some of our other information here. But here are the Whispering Stones, and Laeth should come first.
Okay. Yeah. By chance, I mean, do you have any way to get me there faster? Laith was able to do this cool little portal thing. I don't know if you could do that. Send me to Cyanidel.
And he's like, oh, certainly. And he almost kind of like nods in passing as he kind of gets up and turns to walk away. And as he nods, kind of this gigantic portal, big enough to fit, of course, him, opens up behind you, and the basement of where Laeth was, um, becomes visible through the portal there. And he kind of just turns around, walks away, and begins to kind of look back with the kind of his Technicolor pattern glowing. Like 3 or 4 books begin to open and kind of just like pan through pages. He seems to kind of just be reading 4 books at once, and just leaves you with a portal behind him.
Oh, and so, before I go, sorry, I forgot to ask. What was your name?
And he kind of turns and goes, Selutaar.
Selutaar.
I'm the headmaster
Oh.
of the School of Selutaar.
Well, that just makes sense. Well, thank you, Selutaar. It was nice meeting you. And I'll walk through the portal.
Perfect. And that is where we will end for today's session. You head back to
yeah.
Cyanidel to provide the Whispering Stones to Laeth. But hey, I mean, that was pretty cool. A lot of stuff. I mean, granted, you did get around my whole entire hill giant little encounter, but I feel like it was still productive. It was still
You were
productive.
about to have me go up against a hill giant.
I mean, I would never make you do something that you were not prepared for, or at least I would pull enough punches that you'd survive. So we are fine by that. But of course, if you are interested in watching some of our previous episodes here, they are all for the recorded version as well as an audio only version will be available on our YouTube channel coming this Friday. And you can go check out Tethered by the Table there. If you want some more short form content, you can go to Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok and find more stuff like that. But of course, thank you so much for watching if anyone's here. And we hope you have a good rest of your week.